Welcome to the Leadership Transition course, and in this module we will look at the topic, the dark triad of personality. Now, what is the dark triad of personality and why have we chosen to also talk about this? Now, this is to make you be aware as an aspiring leader or already someone who is in the leadership position that there are certain personalities which are worth making sure you keep an eye on, which have been tagged the dark triad. This basically consists of personalities like narcissism, Machiavellism, or Machiavellianism, as well as psychopathic personalities. They are actually referred to as dark because they have what we call malevolent qualities. In other words, things that negatively impact what you do in a team, or they can take opportunities or advantages in a negative way uh, on you. So an example is the narcissism, which is something characterized by grandiosity or pride or ego or the lack of empathy. You know, when you look at psychopathic personality, they can be impulsive, emotionally cold, remorseful, and of course, you can see that in the body language when you see an inappropriate or lack of emotional expression in them. And something like Machiavellianism, they are very manipulative, they're self-interested, domineering, and their body language can tell you that by the way they look, dominant, expansive posture when they sit or stand, like confronting you even by just standing next to you. And narcissism, which is characterized by perceived superiority, grandiosity, they're like people who are entitled, they feel entitled to things even when they are not. And an example of their body language could be the way they use first person pronouns and focusing on their self during conversation. For example, I did this instead of the team did this. I should be the one that I was. So they hardly recognize others. That is what a narcissist does. Now, when you have a combination of these three, as a trait, or even for you as a leader, which is something you have to be careful about, then you are what we call in the dark triad range. So, as a leader, what do you do with this information? So we've already talked about how you identify them, what kind of characteristics they are. Of course, when you have a narcissist and a Machiavelli mix, then they both have capacity to influence and convince, but in a negative way. And someone who is Machiavelli's and psychopath has abilities to lie always, and they are opportunists which take advantage negatively in their own way. And for a narcissist and a psychopath, combined traits, if you have those two, then you see a lot of selfishness, self-promotion, self-esteem in that sense. And of course, together, all these three leads to someone who is highly disagreeable, callous, can be very dishonest and manipulative. But the most important thing as a leader is how do you detect that also for yourself, not just in others. And you can do that by asking a number of questions, which are called personality traits quiz. So for example, if you're talking to a Machiavelli, and you can check things like, do I have deceitful practices that I use to achieve results? And if it has to do with someone, you ask the same question. You can also say, has the person been caught in lies in the office? Is flattery used to gather or get attention or persuade others? And is manipulation employed to achieve results again? As well as for a narcissist, you can say, does the person always desire to be the center of attention? Are favors expected from others? Or does the person brag about his or her abilities as a leader. And if you're a psychopath, you can also check by asking, is there a lack of remorse when taking part in inappropriate behavior? Or does he or she show a lack of sensitivity? And does the lifestyle appear to be out of control? So using all this type of questions, which you can look for more on your own, you can immediately determine, without even knowing their different personalities as we discussed in other videos, to already start having an idea what kind of personality within the dark triad that one can be. And that is something you can really figure out quickly. So in this module, we've been able to introduce the dark triad, briefly explain what to see in each one of them, and what questions you can ask to try to detect them as a leader, but more importantly for yourself. Because again, we always say, start with yourself as a leader and then move towards others. In that way, you have a better chance of knowing whether you can influence or lead people the way you want. Thank you.